Today, we're diving into one of the most famous books ever written, but we're going to look at it through a story you've probably never heard. A little tale about a girl, her teacher, and a poem that, believe it or not, tells you everything you need to know about the incredible voice behind the Diary of Anne Frank. This single line, it's really the key to the whole thing. Now, Anne Frank had a loving family, lots of friends, but she wrote that she felt this deep, profound loneliness, like she had no one she could really confide in. And then, for her 13th birthday, she got a diary. She named it Kitty. And in those blank pages, she finally found what she was looking for, a patient friend who would listen to anything. You know, before she became this global icon, Anne was just, well, she was Anne, a super smart, really witty, and oh yeah, an incredibly talkative teenager. She was just bursting with life, a quality that, let's just say, didn't always sit well with her teachers. And her maths teacher, a Mr. Keesing, he definitely thought she was a chatterbox. He was so annoyed by her constant talking in his class that he gave her that nickname. And it basically set the stage for this hilarious little battle of wits between a very frustrated teacher and his very, very sharp student. So, what do you do back in the 1940s to punish a kid who won't stop talking? Well, Mr. Keesing got creative. He decided he was going to fight her talking by making her do more writing. So, for the first punishment, an essay on a chatterbox, Anne doesn't just write, "I'm sorry." Oh no. Instead, she comes up with this brilliant argument. Talking is just what students do, and besides, she got it from her mother. It's genetic, she can't help it. Mr. Keesing thought it was funny, but he wasn't convinced. The talking continued, which led to even more ridiculous essay assignments. By the time she gets to the third essay, "Quack, quack, quack," said Mistress Chatterbox, Anne had pretty much run out of logical arguments. So she decided to switch things up. With a little help from her friend San, she decided she was gonna flip this whole punishment right back on her teacher, with a little masterpiece of satire. So, instead of an essay, she writes a poem. It's the story about a mother duck, a father swan, and their three little ducklings, who end up being bitten to death by their own dad. And what was their crime? You guessed it. They quacked too much. The message to Mr. Keesing was, pretty hard to miss. And here is the absolute best part. Mr. Keesing didn't just get the joke. He loved it. He thought it was so clever that he read the poem out loud to Anne's class, and to other classes too, laughing the whole time at how she'd totally turned the tables on him. From that day forward, Anne was allowed to talk. The punishments were over. The joke was on him. She had won. It's a fantastic little story, right? A charming, funny anecdote about a smart kid outwitting her teacher. But now we have to ask a very simple question that changes absolutely everything. Where did this story actually take place? Because it didn't happen in a school. Not even close. This whole battle of wits with Mr. Keesing, her thoughts on her friends, her family, all of it was written down under the most terrifying circumstances you can possibly imagine. This story comes from what we now know as the Secret Annex. Starting in July of 1942, Anne and her entire family were living in constant, silent fear, hiding from the Nazis in a tiny, sealed-off space hidden behind a movable bookcase in her father's office building in Amsterdam. And this timeline, it's just devastatingly short. She gets her diary in June. Just 1 month later, her family is forced into hiding. They survived in there for 2 years, until August 1944, when their hiding place was discovered. Anne died from typhus in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, just weeks before it was liberated. She was only 15 years old. That vibrant, witty, deeply feeling voice that we just got to know in that school story, that voice was tragically, horribly cut short. This was the date of her final entry, the last time she would ever pour her heart out to her one true confidant, Kitty. Just 3 days after that last entry, on August 4th, 1944, the police raided the secret annex. The family was arrested and deported. And the diary? It went silent forever. And yet, this is what makes her voice so eternal. While living in that constant fear, hiding from the very worst of humanity, she wrote this incredible, profound belief in the goodness of people, written down in the absolute darkest of times. It's why her diary has touched millions of hearts. So how do we even know this story? Well, it's because of her father, Otto Frank. He was the only person from the annex to survive.
After the war, he was given Anne's scattered diary pages, and he made it his life's mission to fulfill her greatest dream. He made her a writer.
And her voice didn't just get heard, it echoed across the entire world. Her diary has now been translated into more than 70 languages, making The Private Thoughts of a Teenage Girl one of the most essential and widely read books in all of human history. Her story hits so hard because it puts the completely normal, relatable life of a teenager, her crushes, her arguments with her mom, her dreams for the future, right up against a backdrop of unimaginable evil. That clever poem about the ducks, it wasn't just a schoolgirl's prank, it was an act of resistance. It was her spirit insisting on being creative, on being human, on being alive, in a world that was determined to silence her. And all of this leaves us with a final, haunting question. Anne's diary survived almost by accident, a single voice that managed to become a testament to the entire human spirit. But it's also a powerful reminder of the millions of other voices, the other witty, hopeful, talkative young people whose stories were extinguished forever. It forces us to ask, how many incredible stories does history simply miss?